Here we go with another shoe from Mount to Coast, guys. This is the P1, and before we even get started, I'm here to tell you that Mount to Coast is just dropping bangers left and right in 2024. Their maiden voyage into the shoe world. Oh man, oh man, oh man. So let's get started with this one. I've already tested the R1. Love that shoe. Upper right hand corner, you can see that review, and here we have the P1. So while the R1 was meant to be kind of the long distance racing, you know, like for me, long distance, everything about it was go shoe, and the P1 is a little bit more of considered a stability shoe. Now, typically I do not run in stability shoes, but I'm quite familiar that a lot of times they do have some extra features that we can talk about here later on, and that the P1 here is changing all of that. So let's jump right in with another Energizer bunny of a shoe, the Mount to Coast P1. Now, full transparency, Mount to Coast was kind enough to send me this shoe for the purposes of review and testing here on the channel. They are not telling me what to say. It is all my thoughts and my opinions. Okay, so here we go with the top to bottom of the P1. All right, so I like to just start with the laces. I go line by line with the shoes, guys. So taking a look at the laces, so not the slickest material, actually quite on the fluffy side. And you know, when I say fluffy, it's not this like really sweater-like material. It's actually got some of this sporty, you know, almost like an Under Armour t-shirt exterior feel to it, but it does have quite a bit of thickness to it without it being overly squishy, and it definitely does not stretch at all. And remember how some of the laces were like ridiculously long? That is not the case with the P1 here. What I will say is the eyelet chain of the shoe does seem to want to come together quite close on the P1, I did notice, and you'll see that there is an asymmetry to the P1 towards the inside of the runner to give a little bit of an offset of distribution of the pressure across the top of the foot. Now, that said, I definitely felt very secure in the shoe. I went true to size here, fit true to size, men's size 11, and I didn't have any issues with the fit at all, no slipping at all, so I'm pretty happy with that. But again, there was a little bit of closeness of the material here, and that might be an issue for some runners, especially those with like kind of a skinnier foot, and I would consider myself one of those that has kind of that skinnier foot as well. And so working our way into the actual eyelet chain, you can kind of see how Mount to Coast has decided to do their eyelets. Now on the R1 you had a completely different very innovative lacing system. That is not the case here. It is more of a traditional lacing system where instead of holes you have these slits, which I actually prefer. I kind of like whenever companies do this, because to me it doesn't allow those laces to kind of roll around and get really twisted up, and whenever they're heading in the right direction and they're you know, laced properly, there is a definitive direction to the lace, and I really enjoy that. With Mount to Coast, I have noticed that their materials are very high quality, and the same is going for the P1 here, and just kind of feeling the reinforcing material here for the eyelet chain. It goes all the way around. There's no separation here. It's not like a cloth material. It's actually a very durable feeling material here. So good job, Mount to Coast, for increasing the durability here. Getting my hand into the actual tongue, it doesn't scream ventilation, but I do remember there being quite a bit of airflow going on through here. Now, as far as the thickness of the tongue, at the top here, where it does kind of make contact with the top of the foot, there is quite a bit of padding. It's not, again, like a really squishy cloth material. It does have a bit of a, oh gosh, like an athletic material. I keep going back to the Under Armour shirt type feel, where it's not like that memory foam mattress material, but it's a little bit something, just a little bit more, it's got a little bit more attitude, right? Is that fair? You know, the tongue on the top here has a little bit more attitude, but at the same time, it's very comfortable, and it's not super thin. It definitely does not crease at all. In fact, it does quite a bit of support, and you'll see here this silver piece here. This works its way towards the medial aspect, that arch area of the shoe, and I got my hand in there earlier, and what it does is whenever these laces do come together, this piece is activated and it really brings that arch in, and I definitely felt that there's a lot of arch support, guys. So if you really are a fan of arch support and you want that midfoot to really feel secure, this shoe should be on your list. And if you can take a look in there, it's hard to say that it's like gusseted, where gussets to me are like a definitive band, you know, either. Here there is a connecting piece of the material, but you can kind of see how it starts and it just works its way all the way down inside here. It's not like the Cloud Surfer Next where there's like a definitive booty, but the start of the gusset it begins and it just seamlessly works its way around, kind of top of the back of the toe box here in the front of this eyelet chain, and it comes around and works its way to the other side. So it's a very nice, again, secure fit on the top of the foot for the P1. And as I get my hand in here, you can really feel again how the shoe just seamlessly works its way from the eyelet chain on towards the inside of the shoe, and then again towards the beginnings of the upper. So very close attention to detail. That did not escape notice there, P1. So good job, of course, with this one. Just a very high quality feeling shoe. And I know I keep saying that, I keep harping on it, but you know, I think attention needs to be called for whenever there is like a very high level of construction, especially detail. Alrighty, so moving into the toe box, I'm actually gonna get my hand in here, and you know, you can kind of feel the material here. It's not super stretchy. It doesn't feel restrictive at all. In fact, this has got a lot of room in the toe box. I would say it's a little bit less room than the R1. I don't have the S1, which I think I probably will get that, and I'll probably have a three-way battle at some point, but that's for a different video. But what I'm saying is, you know, there's not quite as much room in the toes as the R1, but at the same time, it did not feel constrictive at all. R1, the whole Mount Dakota line to me feels very comfortable, and it just feels secure and just rewards you for running long periods of time. Okay, now getting my hand into the toe box, that's quite a rigid, well, rigid maybe isn't the best word, but just a very durable feeling toe cap and toe box. The material is not, you know, coming down all that much, especially in the toes here, but it does have some flexibility. You know, it's not like a very stiff upper at all. You know, there's a lot of detailing that kind of works its way. You know, these are functional. I think about these like being very functional, like this band here, for example. Whenever you pull the laces, it really works its way to, again, wrap around the top of the foot and give a nice, secure feel. I think Mount Dakota understands that, and they do a good job. Same thing with the R1, and here it is again with the P1. Now all this business back here, like first of all, this heel is just like rock solid, man. It's like, you know, hard oak. It's not going anywhere. You know, it's not collapsing, not like at all, and it's got like a, you know, this, you know, a rounded shape, not really a tapered shape. But like this plastic here, it just works this way whenever you get the runner's loop. And by the way, I didn't feel like I had to do the runner's loop. And you know, in my mind, this is not really a runner's loop shoe unless you like really need that. It's nice that it's there, but for me, I'm not like cinching it down and doing all that. Again, no slipping whatsoever, even without the runner's loop. But what I'm saying is, whenever you get the shoe on, you can feel like kind of this material working its way in and just naturally kind of accepting the foot and accepting the heel, and the shoe just becomes an extension of your leg, really. And then with that, talking about the heel collar, so plush. Oh my gosh. It's just, it's, you know, plush without it being like too overly squishy. It's not, you know, firm at all. It's just, again, a very nice bit of material. I wish you could feel this, like there it is on camera. And like my finger just disappears in there. Like it is such a vault for your heel bone, and you get in there and it's just, you know, pulls you in. And once that shoe is on, it was almost like kind of, you know, I don't want to say difficult to take off, but once it was on, getting it off, like there was some effort required because it was on there so well. But at the same time, again, it wasn't like constrictive or putting any pressure points on there. Again, it was just a very comfortable shoe. In fact, a lot of these Mount Deco shoes I can figure, you know, for walking, for running. I mean, it's a smart enough shoe. You can probably take this to the office if this is something that you would wear to your workplace. I mean, I feel like this would be a very good shoe. Plus the R1 and the S1 probably is the same way. If they just are smart looking, and I think that you would be able to be just fine wearing it all the time. But I digress. And then there's this fun little, you know, elasticy piece here to kind of work. You know, I did not use this, I didn't need this, but again, with this heel being what it is, I can see how you might need a little assistance getting that shoe on. Oh my goodness. Here we go, taking out the insert. All right. By the way, I'm keeping my voice down because my wife is working like right above me. So I can't be my normal level of loud. Anyways, so here is this 2-zone insert, and you saw me on the initial impressions how excited I was about this. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Mount Deco, you guys are just smashing it with the inserts, guys. So the reason I'm really excited is not only because it's like a really high-speed construction, but just the way that this heel cup works. Like, I love it whenever there's like attention to the heel cup, and you know you can see the arch right here too. But to me, anytime that there's a lot of attention to the heel, that keeps that fat pad, the fat pad that, you know, normally would pancake out in the event that you don't have this, but this is allowed to keep that fat pad directly underneath the heel bone, and then the rest of the foot, and then of course the foam underneath, and really give the foot, the heel, and everything else the proper padding and protection it needs to prevent injury, right? To keep that that heel bone nice and padded as it should be, so that way you're not, you know, constantly getting that thing banged around, you know, and then potentially causing injuries. So with that said, this is a very high quality insert. There's several millimeters of material. You can see how this is one piece, and then towards the outside, it's second, but number 3 would be this arch area. Oh man, the arch of this shoe, it just, like, you can definitely feel it. And again, it works this way with this silver band here, and you can feel it. I know I felt it in the running out there. It's just a very supportive shoe, and again, it just has like this massive amount of arch support. Like, it's just a wonderful feeling shoe, guys. I know I keep going on about that. Thinking about wings and little walls of the midsole as it goes up into the upper, there's not really any at all. Like, you know, I'm thinking about the Glide Ride and Glide Ride Max that we did recently. You know, there's a ton of sidewall there, but there's like nothing here at all. But at the same time, there was enough room in the toe box, even though it's a little bit less than the R1, that I didn't feel like my feet were, you know, wanting to slide over the edges or anything like that. And there was really no pinch points or anything towards the medial arch or the lateral arch for that matter. That plus the insert that I just talked about does a good job of kind of covering up any potential seams, the intersection between the upper and the midsole, where sometimes pressure points can occur, but it seems to all be understood and addressed with the construction of the shoe and the duality of the insert and the shoe as it goes together. So thinking about the midsole, so this is their light cell PEBA-based nitrogen infused material here. And they use the same kind of stuff on the R1 and I believe the S1 as well. So where the difference comes in for the P1 and the turn in the realm of stability shoes. So a lot of stability shoes use a lot of material. It used to be like a hard plastic. I guess some still do. Again, I don't run in stability shoes. My wife does though. And I think about the Hoka Arari because that's what she uses. That is a dual density midsole foam that usually works its way towards the medial arch around the heel and around, you know, and it ends up somewhere towards the lateral edge here. And I know that the Arari has that J-shaped kind of thing kind of going on. But I think the point is that a lot of those shoes work mainly towards the back of the shoe, the hind foot, to control that motion as it comes down and keep that foot from rocking and rolling, which is all well and good. But, you know, I think what Mount Deco has found is that instead of focusing primarily on the stability aspects of the heel to really focus a little bit more on the midfoot. And so that's what this is. This is the 3D arch rail. It's maybe hard to see on the camera. There on the B-roll, you can see it, but it works its way from the medial, kind of that first right under the big toe here, around the metatarsal heads, that ball of the foot, and comes out towards the side or the lateral side of the midfoot here. And so inside the shoe, that's where a lot of this arch rail is happening. You know, this is the exterior and this is not what it is. It's actually on the inside where you can't see, but it kind of comes around and it actually does elevate a slight amount towards the side here, so it actually does go up. And what they're trying to do here is control motion. So for example, you come down on this heel and you know, as you're going along, you know, the shoe twists, your foot twists, and you kind of come off that first toe. Everybody's different. I totally understand that. For me, I supinate, and you know, it might come down on my midfoot and then come off here, you know, and I've seen it on the B-roll there on the camera. You can see it too. Footage really shows me that I come down here, I kind of slam, and then I'm off, and I hardly ever do anything else. You know, and whenever I do my heel strike, I will come down and land on the outside and then kind of twist and roll. So running is a very dynamic, it's not linear motion at all. There's a lot of 3D motion happening here, and that's what's going on with this 3D arch rail. I know that is called a stability shoe, but it to me, it just kind of captures excessive twisting and whatnot of the foot as it relates to the dynamic aspects of running. So, you know, while the gait of the runner won't change, the capturing of all that motion can be different. And I think that's what Mount Tecos is doing. So for me, what I was feeling was a lot of support kind of in the ball of the foot, definitely in the arch area, but you know, a little bit more towards that lateral side. You know, there's a lot of, I said arch a minute ago, and there's a lot of it here in a lot of the other shoes, but it's like kind of no man's land out here towards the outside. Well, that's not the case at all with a P1. Like I'm coming down and I feel like this, like almost like a hammock. I feel like this band of material that is just kind of capturing the outside of my foot as it comes down and working its way. So, I mean, I don't know if it's just because it's being talked about and there's some cool science behind it, and it's talking about activating certain muscles in the foot. By the way, they talk about that the design of the shoe, the 3D arch rail, does activate one of the intrinsic muscles of the foot, the abductor hallucis, which is kind of one of the main dynamic elevators of the arch versus the back of the leg and everything. It actually is inside. There on the screen is a little image and action of that muscle, and it does play a very much key role in the arch of the foot. And Mount Tecos is saying that this 3D arch rail activates that. So that's one thing, and it's being called to attention. Now, how many other shoes do that? I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen inside view camera, ultrasound or whatever of this or any other shoes. You know, that's just kind of what they're saying. But what I can tell you is that I definitely felt some exterior, more lateral support with the P1 here. Considering all the other shoes, these neutral shoes that I've been running in, there's a lot more here. And what that translated to is just a feeling of longevity, a feeling of durability, not with just the shoe, but with myself. And I did feel like I could run for probably a lot longer than my time allowed, probably because of the shoe. You know, I do have a lot of faith in shoes, and if they're right, then you should feel like you can run forever, especially if you're going to be hitting zone 2. By the way, I mentioned zone 2. I'm talking about like something that is just a cruiser. Like I'm not looking to go super duper fast, and that's exactly what this shoe excelled in. I wasn't trying to get after any aggressive times or anything like that. My goals were to just experience the shoe, I believe, as the shoe was intended for, and that is kind of that long, slow distance, and that's what I did here, and it performed very well. Just the right amount of energy return, a lot of forgiveness under step, but again, it didn't really like want to, you know, launch me and get me going. I believe they're just trying to capture all that excessive motion, all that excessive material, kind of simmer down and keep the runner going and keep the runner healthy. So instead of one awesome run and then you're injured, How about a lot of okay runs? And I believe that's what Mount Tacos is going for. So we're actually going 37 in the heel and then 27 in the forefoot for a 10 millimeter drop. It's a very, very, very steep drop. But that being said, again, with this 3D arch rail kind of coming in here and kind of mixing things up and getting in the middle of all that stuff, it doesn't exactly feel at all like a 10 millimeter drop. If anything, I felt more like it was like a 4 to 5 millimeter drop, actually, in my opinion. I didn't feel like a very, very steep drop at all. It has a lot to do with kind of the inner guts that are going on within the shoe. So let's throw it on the scale and find out how much it weighs. All right, men's size 11, the P1. Oh, here we go again, another 11 ounce. That's crazy. Men's size 11 is 11 ounces here, and that's happened with a couple of shoes down here. That's kind of interesting. But anyways, that's a fair amount of weight. But again, I'm not looking to be like, running, 400s in the shoe at all. I don't mind a heavier shoe, especially if it's going to be something that's going to be there for me and give me the opportunity to run and do the thing that I love to do. That will be running for a long, long period of time. It is my medicine, y'all, and this shoe gets me my medicine. I'm sure y'all can agree. So GoFlow is the geometry specific to Mount Tacos with the midsole foam as it relates to the heel to toe transition mainly. So thinking about how you're coming down, you're hitting this heel in some cases, or hitting the midfoot, and then you're rolling along. It's basically just a dynamic amount of the foam to just create seamless heel to toe transitions. Even if you're not landing completely on your heel, you're landing more on the midfoot, it's still considered a something in the back working its way towards the front, because we're not landing on this part, we're landing somewhere probably from here back. I mean, if you're sprinting, which you're probably not doing in this shoe, it's from here back, and that's kind of what they're talking about with this GoFlow geometry. So checking the durometer of the P1, we have underneath the fifth toe, we have 30. The lateral heel is 35.5. The medial heel is, let's get a good spot. Ooh, 37.5, a little bit harder there, Mount Tacos. And then underneath the big toe, what do we have? We have 38. So that's the exterior where I'm checking here. I obviously am not going to be going inside all the way, cutting through the shoe to check out the durometers, even though I think that there might be a difference considering. But I'm not bringing my bandsaw down here to cut shoes open. Unless you guys feel differently, you really might want me to do that, let me know that in the comments. But so far, I'm not doing that. Anyways, so moving on to the outsole. Oh man, oh man, oh man. So it looks like a ton of rubber, right? You look at that, it's a ton. It's actually not as much as it looks like. Perhaps it's just, the camera here. What I will say is there is so much grippiness to this shoe. So there was the R1 and then there was the R1R, and what they talked about there, it was just so much squeaking and I guess a bunch of noise going on with the outsole. In this case, there was not really a ton of noise or any of that stuff, but what I can tell you was it just had a ton of really grippy quality to it. So very pleased with that. But again, you can kind of see this line here where there's the ability for the shoe to kind of flex a little bit and work its way away from this this piece here, this 3D arch rail outsole portion, and then right here is the exposed midsole, and then we got exposed midsole here and coming out the back with a touch of rubber here and a touch of rubber there. And there we go. There's another banger from Mount Tacos. $159 for this shoe. Oh man, oh man, oh man. So let's think about it. $160. That's kind of the price point for a lot of the Mount Tacos shoes, right? So is it worth it? I mean, considering the durability, the construction, I'm thinking about just how it felt on my foot, and it was a shoe that really encouraged me to want to run in it. It was extremely comfortable out of the box, and it just continuously seemed to meld into my foot or the other way around. I didn't feel I was fighting the shoe. You know, you've got this 3D arch rail thing going on, providing like a hammock-like structure for underneath my foot. You know, the idea is to keep a lot of that motion down and keep the injury, you know, from creeping. Oh, there it goes. Golly, yes, I would consider this shoe worth it. I feel like it could do a lot of good in a person's training block. If this is the one shoe that you purchase that you're planning on doing all of your non-race miles on it, I think you can get away with that. You might want to consider a second, more speed-oriented shoe. Then, of course, your race day shoe, or that, you know, speed-oriented shoe could be your race day shoe, and then this could be your everything else shoe. I think that would be perfectly fine. If you want to stick to mountain to coast, you could probably consider this shoe plus the R1 or the R1R. With that being said, I think it would be appropriate to do a versus, a shootout, if you will, of the Mountain to Coast shoes. I know I have the R1 and here's the P1. I think I would just go ahead and pick up the S1 and then have a triangle of Mount to Coast down here. Mount to Coast, it's 3. And that way we can have a full line of the Mount to Coast shoes and figure out what make each one ticks. So again, Mount to Coast, thank you so much for sending me this shoe. I truly do appreciate it. Thank you, and y'all have done a very good job. Okay, that's it. So my name is Jason. I'm a nurse practitioner in podiatry. I'm also a dad, and I love talking about running shoes. This is a fun-filled, like, family running channel. It's not a medical channel, but again, I just use that podiatry business to inform my inserts. And down here, we're talking about coffee and all those kinds of things. So my slogan, my priorities are family, and coffee, and running shoes. And FYI, I got, what is this, Fire Department Coffee right here behind me. These guys kind of came into my radar recently. They do a lot of good stuff. They make really good coffee, actually. It's the stuff I had this morning, lots of caffeine. They reach a lot of fire departments and folks that are injured on the job. They actually have a little bit of money that goes towards that based on the sales here, and they also support first responders. Before I was a podiatry nurse practitioner, I was an ER trauma nurse for a long time. I worked with a lot of fire department personnel, you know, police officer personnel, and of course first responders and paramedics. And so this kind of thing speaks to me. Just a little thing, and I'll put the link down in the description of those guys too, as well as Mount to Coast. So once again, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We are in the middle of autumn here, and it's just a wonderful season. I hope. Oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you to like and subscribe. So please do that. Everybody's staying safe and having a wonderful run and a wonderful October, and we will catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Please like and subscribe. Please.